Good evening, everyone. My name is Rahul. Can you guys hear me? All right. My name is Rahul. I work for a company called EXL. And today we're going to do a bit of a fireside chat. There's no fire here, but we'll still try and create that fire between Matt and me. I don't know how many of you have heard about EXL, but we are a global business services revenue size of almost 2 billion, market cap of 6 billion. We are into data analytics, data science, digital AI, and we run customer operations for large retailers. I've been with the company for 20 years, and Next is a large client of ours. We've had this partnership for almost 4 years. We run customer operations for Next. We run their data. We run their digital finance, e-commerce, so quite a strategic partnership. And Matt is the customer services director for Next. He is one of the sponsors for this partnership. And Matt has been with Next for 25 years. He's a veteran. He's done all sorts of roles within Next. Started as a finance accountant, did accounting for some time, moved into marketing, from marketing to leading a huge team of customer services, 2,000 people globally across India, UK, and Poland, right? What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about how we are infusing data, Gen AI, and a lot of digital within customer services to enhance customer experience. So we'll keep it quite light. You know, I don't have any pages to present because we've done it ourselves. So we'll try and bring to life as to how we've done it through a use case. But Matt will do a lot of talking. With that, I'll hand over to Matt. If you want to talk a little bit about, I'm sure everyone knows about Next, but still, Matt, if you want to introduce Next.
Great. Thanks, Rahul. So, yeah, I think most people will know who Next are, but just in case you don't, Next is a British retailer. We operate in the UK predominantly, but also have got lots of business overseas. We split across online, where we are live, again, predominantly in the UK, but maybe in 80 other international countries, and that's a growing part of our business. And then we've also got a big store portfolio as well. So circa 500 stores in the UK and maybe another couple of hundred further afield. So there, that's all I'd say on Next.
Thanks, Matt. So, Matt, the first question that I have is, you have a big customer services team. You're leading a huge charter for Next from a customer experience standpoint. And a lot of data and AI is disrupting today's customer experience. So from your point of view where you sit, how do you see data and AI disrupting or enhancing the customer experience for Next?
Okay, so definitely been on a journey with data and AI. There's been a marked shift in the quality of the solutions that are available over the last sort of 9 months or so. We're genuinely getting to the point now where some of the solutions that we're implementing are making a difference and adding value to our customers. In terms of the foundations, it goes back to data and making sure that you've got your data in a good format. It's well structured and organized, and that really then helps you take advantage of the AI solutions that you can put on top of that data. So that could be sort of simple things like making sure that you can share the different sort of data sources across the business and join it up in one place. It could be about the way that you catalog and tag that data as well, so that the AI solutions and the large language models can take advantage of it, as I sort of said and suggested. So that's a key point.
Sure. So if I can summarize, what you're saying is data is very essential when it comes to implementing an AI or a Gen AI use case within customer services. On that particular note, when you think about the implementation that you've done, it'll be great for us to hear from you. What have you really worked on from a Gen AI standpoint? And I'll put a couple of sequence to it. What is the solution that you've really implemented? How have you done it? And important part is, what has been the learning for you really implementing the entire Gen AI solution? So let's start with the first one. What is the solution and how you've done it?
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of examples. So I think if I just take one step back, in that there's a couple of things that have really helped us implement AI at Next and in customer services. One's the backing right to the top from our CEO, who's very behind what we're doing with it, and he's sort of challenged all of the divisional directors to go out and find use cases to look to sort of enhance what we're doing, both to drive customer service forward in our case, and also to sort of make some cost savings wherever possible. And I guess the secret, and what seems to be more and more possible with AI, is you can quite often get both. So the idea of enhancing and adding value, but also cost saving, and that's been really sort of useful to us. In terms of some of the use cases, we went through a process maybe 18 months or so ago where, we had a session in India with EXL where we brainstormed a number of solutions that were either sort of customer facing or were sort of supporting our advisors, our team in customer service to deliver their service in the best way possible. And we chose to really focus on the advisor route initially. And there's a number of good reasons for that, mainly around the control in which we've got to deploy a solution with some guardrails and some protections around that. In terms of actual use case, if I just talk about one initially, which is a product called Smart Assist, and that's maybe as the solution name suggests, it's a tool that allows our agents to deliver better service. It starts with us transcribing calls, so really, really simple. We have a conversation, or an advisor has a conversation with a customer, and we transcribe that conversation and we present it on a screen to the advisor, and that allows them to sort of track what's going on. So they're listening to what the customer's saying, but they can also see what's being said. Really, really useful where there's a poor line, so it could be a bad mobile line, or if the customer's got quite a strong accent. So simple things like when a customer is giving us an email address or reading out an item number or a phone number even, quite often we've worked out that our advisors had to ask the customers to repeat themselves. And obviously one, it's poor service, but two, it actually takes time. So just by transcribing the calls, we were able to strip out about 7 seconds on average of every single call. And when you're handling millions of contacts a year, which is what our contact centres are doing, that soon adds up to quite a significant saving. And just by doing the transcription, we've ultimately ended up paying for the whole of the solution. We then take that base product and then we look to see what else we can do with it. So the example might be to pop nudges up to an advisor. So the AI is smart enough to find and understand sort of keywords and phrases and terms to understand what the conversation's about. And let's say it's something about maybe a late return where the customer's waiting for a credit. Then we could just pop up the return timelines to the advisor sort of mid-conversation. So they just got the right information to be able to field those queries. That's a real simple example. Another one is that we run a credit facility for our customers. We underwrite that credit facility, which helps our online customers shop. And part of that is obviously heavily regulated. There's lots of good things that we need to do to protect all of our customers, including customers with vulnerabilities. So one of the things we need to do is identify those customers, and it might be quite subtle in the way that they sort of explain that. It's quite easy sometimes for our advisors to miss it. So again, the solution's able to sort of suggest, is this potentially a vulnerable customer that you're speaking to, and then even offer, different types of support that we could offer that customer to help them. And then finally with that solution is the way that we summarize up the content. So typically can be quite a long conversation sometimes, and at the end of that conversation we may need to leave a note on the ticket, so we've got a record of that conversation. That takes quite a significant amount of time. So if the AI solution can do that for us, obviously there's a big cost saving there. And what we've worked out by sort of the trial and error doing this is that not only is there a cost saving there, but actually the quality of the summarization, the notes we leave, are significantly better than what an advisor might leave. But it's not that the advisor doesn't understand it, but what they quite like to do is just take a pause from the contact and also put a bit of personality into the notes that they're leaving. which is more interesting maybe to read, but it's harder to read quickly for the next advisor who picks it up sometimes. So there's a couple of wins there, again, in terms of the speed in which we can get up to speed with the query, but also the time saving that we've saved on millions of contacts, putting roughly a 25-second saving on every single call.
So Matt, what you're saying is a lot of people have a question when you implement Gen AI, is it giving you the right benefit from a use case standpoint, right?
Yeah.
And what I heard, you spoke about not only cost reduction, which is efficiency improvement, but also customer experience improvement. Now, a couple of examples that you gave was an agent gets time to summarize. There's auto summarization that's happening. Also, you can identify vulnerability, especially when you're dealing with a vulnerable customer. You don't miss out on those signs, and the tool gives the nudge that you got to deal with this customer a little differently, give them payment options. So from a next perspective, are you looking at Gen AI only from a cost and experience, or is there enterprise-wide deployment that you guys are thinking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, predominantly customer services, but no, we're looking at implementing AI in lots of different places. Again, if I maybe give you a different example, again, link back to customer service, but just shows a different use case for the same sort of solution, which is one of the challenges that we have is we've got a big team, as Rahul mentioned, and we've got to join the dots up between all the different conversations that we're having over the business. Now, that could include maybe some of the marketing conversations as well as the customer service conversations, but quite often the challenge is spotting the trends of what's being said and talked about. So that could be interest in a certain product, or it could be problems that are being flagged that need to be resolved, which might be a faulty issue with an item, or a rogue courier that's not delivering items on time or to the right standard, as an example, or a rogue item even. Now, to be able to join all of that up is really, really powerful, because then we can start to solve the issues at source. So one of the ways that we've also used this transcribed data is to look for those trends across millions of different contacts, to find those trends sort of near real time, and then ultimately generate sort of exception lists that then go directly to our warehouse team or our e-commerce team for them to explore the sorts of things that customers are talking about. So a really simple example is we send out millions and millions of products, and it's, it doesn't happen often, but we do sometimes get the occasions where we send the wrong product to the customer. So a good example could be customer orders a black trainer, solely black trainer on our website from one of the brands that we sell, and they're expecting to get a full black trainer, but when it turns up, it's maybe a black trainer with a white logo on the side, not what they ordered. Clearly that's rubbish customer service. It's not what the customer's expecting. It's also costly for us to put it right. We have to sort of refund various delivery charges, go through a quality check again, and also check the rest of that location. By being able to spot the trends of this much quicker, we can obviously sort the issue much quicker. So that might be that the image on the website was wrong. It was always a black trainer with a white sort of logo on it. Or it could be that the wrong product is in the location in the warehouse, or it could be something else. I guess it's how do we get to that information quickly to sort of sort these problems out. And this is where the power of AI has sort of come in. We've always been able to get there through good reporting, but it typically takes a lot longer, whereas this is sort of more real-time sort of issues that we're spotting as and when they're sort of turning up. It could be something, again, similar like with a courier. It might be a temporary courier that's been put in to deliver items in a certain postcode area that all of a sudden we're having some pretty major problems with. We need to get onto the delivery partner, pull them out and give them some more training, say, rather than let them work for the rest of the week, giving bad service to our customer. So again, the speed of which we can get to these issues has been improved significantly.
Sure. That's great, Matt. I think one of the questions that I've again heard from a lot of people is talking about Gen AI is easy, but implementing it to give you tangible results from a customer, cost, regulatory standpoint is difficult. You seem to have at least embarked on this journey with 2,000 people, multi-locations globally. I'm sure there are a lot of learnings that you would have had, right? Working with partners, internal resistance, culture, people. It'll be great if you can talk about, what are you doing? One, what have you learned and how are you really navigating all of this? Because there is more deployment that's happening, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's always risk when you put any product live, and I guess there's probably more risk with AI than many other systems. So one of the things that we did, and I mentioned right at the start of the conversation, was we started with these agent-facing solutions. And what that allows us to do is it allows the agent to remain in control of the solution. So take the note that we mentioned earlier. We could automate that fully and just apply the note on the account, which would be ultra efficient, but there's a risk there it could be incorrect or it could be misleading. Whereas if we present the proposed note to the advisor retains control and then actually can correct it, refine it, change a few words on it, and they're responsible for then putting the note on the account. That's a really simple way in which you can de-risk the whole thing. And if there was any rogue responses, particularly in the early sort of days of rolling out the solution, we can identify those quickly, feed it back to the development team, and then make sure that that ultimately the right note has gone on the customer's account. Other things that we do, we trial. So we're very, very quick to trial a solution. We're not looking for a perfect solution. What we're trying to get is something to get put in front of a number of advisors or a number of customers in a controlled way, just to test to see if it's valuable. Is it going to work in the way we think it is? Or actually is it fundamentally flawed for some reason we've not been able to sort of predict? So we try and sort of test quickly and maybe fail fast or learn quickly from that. We'll typically deploy a solution to a small proportion of the team as well. So it might be a handful of the team, and we make it crystal clear to that team that it is a sort of a beta solution, and that we want them to have a real input in refining that solution. So then we manage expectations in terms of what they should expect. They're going to expect some things not to work maybe, or not to be optimal, and we want to hear all of that feedback. We make sure we capture that, and obviously that helps us refine the solution very, very quickly. Another point is an obvious one, it's just reporting. So making sure we've got a good reporting wrap around the solution. So that could be customer metrics, it could be advisor metrics, and also actually metrics around the solution itself in terms of the speed of which it's working, the accuracy of which it's working, are other sort of critical things.
Great. And Matt, if again, if you can talk a little bit more about the culture part, because not everyone wants to accept AI. There is a lot of fear around we will lose our jobs if AI comes into existence, and a lot of fear that goes around, especially with large customer services team or debt collections team.
Yeah.
Again, talk a little bit about how do you take everyone on a journey?
Sure. Okay, so the first thing is just to be pretty brutally honest with the team in terms of what we're doing, and upfront about AI and how we're going to use it. So we spend a lot of time explaining that to the team in team events and team talks and individual sort of meetings and briefings and things. Certainly at the moment, it's all about linking the human side with the AI rather than the AI replacing the human. And that has massively helped the initial sort of adoption of what we're trying to do. And then more and more, where we can join the teams up to help actually refine the solution, then they've got a vested interest in that solution and are far more likely to adopt it and use it in the desired way. In terms of the culture, it comes down from our CEO and the board. We're always pushed to look for sort of the cutting edge sort of technology. We're always pushed to create value and cost savings, and that filters all the way down to the lowest sort of member in any team. So there's that desire to sort of do good things and move forward. We know if we stand still, we're not going to have a business ultimately, in a few years' time. So that has drummed into everybody from a very, very early stage. So it's rare we get much pushback on change because it's just something that we constantly do every single day. But I think the most important thing is that, it's that communication and making sure you're explaining why you're implementing the solutions, not just what you're implementing. That's probably a key message.
Sure. I think we can take questions if you guys have. I don't know what timing do we have. 4 minutes. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. Matt or I would be happy to answer.
So was it a strategic decision to do a internal facing Gen AI before doing something customer facing? And have you got something customer facing planned?
Yeah, so definitely strategic to protect. We really didn't want the AI to go rogue in any way and put a bad response out to a customer, for example, something that could potentially get in the press. So I think you maybe heard, I think DPD was a good example that had a bit of a rogue chatbot for a while and was quite negative to the brand. So yeah, absolutely strategic. But no, we're doing lots of things that are customer facing as well. So a good example is, again, similar sort of subject, but drafting email responses is quite a useful one. So within our CRM platform, we've got the ability to summarize and draft email responses. So if you think you might get one or maybe a couple of emails from a customer in quick succession, the solution's able to sort of read those emails, understand the context of what's being said, and then suggest a response. And then similar to maybe you've seen ChatGPT or something like that, where you can then refine that response just with a click of a button. So you can either give it some limited instructions and then basically sort of click, sort of redraft, or you can ask it to be more friendly, or you can ask it to be more professional, or even again have that hybrid solution where you've got ultimately the AI generating the first draft, but you then allow the customer service advisor to then refine it, maybe sign off in their personal way, or add a little bit more information that they think's missing. So that's a good example of what we're trying to do. Okay, thank you.
Hi. Is there anything special about Next in its ability to implement these tools in a manner that is sustainably superior to its competitors, or is the use of AI similar to standing on your tiptoes to see the band, and then everyone stands on their tiptoes and you can't see the band anymore?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything special about, certainly technically, that we're doing. I mean, maybe with the exception of the data. If I think some of the preparation work that went into allowing us to take advantage of the solutions, the data thing we've already talked about, so I won't go through that again, but the other key thing was we've modernized our main sort of customer advisor platform and our sort of switch, the tool that takes the contact, and that went all into the cloud. That meant the data was more readily available to plug into these types of solutions. So that was quite a big step, which wouldn't have stopped us doing these things, but it just made it a lot easier. And that's what I'd say generally with the data point as well, that no matter how sort of unorganized your data is, it's not going to stop you doing these things. It just might take a little bit longer to do it, or maybe limit the value that you can get from it quickly. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the key thing. But I mean, hopefully the way I've tried to speak today is to keep things as simple as possible. I mean, people talk about AI in a way that it's this sort of black box and it's super clever, and it's actually relatively straightforward in terms of what's going on there. It's just trying to cut through maybe some of the jargon and through the misunderstanding. And as I said, you actually learn more just by trialing this stuff and getting it out there in a controlled way, and then being able to sort of refine it from that point. So that would be sort of my key message. If you're thinking about using AI in a certain way, make sure you've got the right protections around it. You don't want to make a mistake, but at the same time, just try and find a way where you can trial it in a sort of controlled way, a soft way, and then take it from there and build up.
Sure. I think we are on top of the hour, Matt. Thank you very much for doing this with us. If I were to summarize our discussion, I was making notes when you were talking about it. The most important thing that you spoke about was data. Data is really essential when you want to embark on this journey. Number 2, human in the loop.
Yeah.
You can't run an AI project without humans being in the loop. We call it HIL. And number 3, you should start now.
Yes.
If you want to embark on a AI journey and look at customer experience, the timing is now. Fail fast, as you said, but do start now. Thank you again, Matt, and thank you everyone for being part of this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, all. Thanks, Rahul. Thank you.